Hi, my name's Andy Hancock. I'm the youth pastor at Life Central Church in Halesowen, and I want to talk to you today about raising up young leaders. We've got to do a really good job of raising up young leaders. I'm really passionate about it because it can't all rely on me. It's not just about me or the older people in church doing the work. We've got to pass on leadership within the church to the next generation. And if we want our churches and our youth ministries to grow, we have to think about how we're going to invest in young leaders. So I want to share with you 6 points of investing in young leaders. The first point is that young leaders will not save you time. In fact, they will cost you time. You have to find a way to create space to give them the time that they need. They won't just come in and solve all your problems and mean that you can kick back and relax. They take time to be invested in, to talk to them, to talk through stuff, explaining stuff. Only in the long run, after around 6 months to a year, will young leaders start to save you time. But in the meantime, in the short term, they will cost you time, and it takes more time and more energy. So don't just look to young leaders to save you time. If you're looking to save time, don't look for young leaders, because if you do it properly, it should cost you lots and lots of time. The second point, when working with young leaders, is be specific. In Luke 10, Jesus sends out the 72, and when he sends out the 72, he gives really specific details of what to do and what not to do. And when we're raising up young leaders and when we're putting them into roles and we're giving them jobs to do, we have to be specific. I know what I'm like when I'm giving people jobs. I'm like, can you just do that job? And I want them to just almost like download what I'm thinking into their brain and be able to do it. But we have to be specific. In our youth ministry, we have job roles where I give any leader a role description, and they have that. They know what's expected of them. They know what time they're expected to turn up. They know what they're expected to do in those roles. And we even have a youth leader lifestyle covenant agreement where every leader in the youth ministry will sign it. And it's just what we expect of you if you are becoming a youth leader, because we say you're not just filling a role, you're becoming a role model. So we want to be really specific with our guys. Go through each task in detail so that nothing is missed. Because if you give them more information, they are going to be more confident to be able to carry out the role that you're asking them to do. My third point is be encouraging. You know, most young leaders won't see the gift of leadership in themselves that you see in them. And you have to find a way to call that out. So find spaces where you can, you know, even just walking past them at the end of a night of youth and just saying, I thought you did that really well. Well done for tonight. That was great. Looking for the things that they're doing brilliantly and calling it out of them. Be encouraging, because they won't grow in confidence unless you are telling them that they're doing well. And I'm not saying make it up, but look for the things that they're doing well, because you as a senior leader, I know I don't like calling myself a senior leader, but I am a senior leader. I'm the youth pastor. I know my words have the power to crush or the power to build up. And I know an encouraging word from me to a young leader saying, I thought you did great there. Well done. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Builds confidence. My fourth point is invite them in. You know, I'm quite decisive as a leader, and I can be quite bossy sometimes. I know what I want and I know what I want to do, but I have to work really hard to invite other leaders into my thought process, into our thinking process. And I want to invite young leaders into that space as well. You know, last summer we went through a process of beginning to restructure our entire youth ministry. And part of that process, I invited one girl who was 18 onto our core team for that process, because she just stepped out of the youth ministry and she was investing as a young leader, and her voice was really important to us. And actually we spent time with our 16 plus guys, who a lot of them are young leaders, asking them some of the questions, and the comments that they've given us has helped us to shape our youth ministry to what it is today. And invite them in on social occasions as well. We do a monthly youth event, and often we head round to the local pub afterwards as a youth team, and we've invited some of our young leaders, obviously the ones that are over 18, but we've invited them along to come and take part in that and be a part of us as a group of leaders socially as well. It's really important, because if you don't invite them in, then as young leaders they won't buy in. And you have to invite them in order to be able to buy in. And then hopefully one day they can carry on to be not just young leaders, but leaders, and carry some serious weight in the youth ministry. My fifth point is feedback. It is so important that you give young leaders feedback, helping them to see where they can improve, and not just sitting there with a clipboard going, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you did this wrong, but giving feedback and saying, you know, you're doing brilliant at this, but over here in this area, you could really improve. Yeah, anybody that does a talk in our youth ministry, they get feedback off somebody because we constantly want to be improving. Whenever I do a talk or whenever I'm leading stuff, I'm constantly looking for feedback. And we should be modelling that with our young leaders and giving our young leaders feedback. And this is a space where we can build trust and build the opportunity to challenge some stuff. I know when I was a young leader, my youth leader gave me a challenge and said, Andy, you're really good at getting up on a stage and talking about Jesus, but you're not good at living it out in your day-to-day life. And he challenged me on that on a regular basis, and it helped me to begin to walk out following Jesus in my everyday life, not just when I was at a youth event. And we've got to find those spaces, take them from a McDonald's or a Starbucks or whatever, and find a space where you can encourage and challenge and give them feedback. My final point is release. We don't just raise up young leaders to fill the roles that we need them to fill. We're looking to raise up young leaders so that they can be the men and women that God is calling them to be. And that might be outside of our youth ministry and outside of our church. And that's hard because as a youth pastor, you spend hours and weeks and months and even years investing in these guys. And they may go off to other churches, or they may go off to university and not come back again. They may go off to other areas of the church and other ministries within the church. We have to be willing to release leaders because we're not just trying to raise up people to do the jobs that we need them to do within the youth ministry, but we need to raise up young leaders so that they can go and be leaders where God is calling them to be. Some of the best young leaders that I've spent time investing in are no longer within the youth ministry, no longer serving within the youth ministry, but they're off at other churches, doing gap years with other churches, partnering with universities and off in the workplace, and they're serving God as leaders, and I've had to release them. And that's been tough because I have to start again and start investing in new young leaders. But it's great to see them going off and serving God around the world. And, you know, as youth leaders and youth pastors, I want to encourage you, take the time to invest in young leaders. It will not only improve your youth ministry, but it will help grow the kingdom of God. And that's what we're in this game for.